I honestly think it's a good experience for most people because hey guys, it's CC Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel. So I get a lot of comments in the YouTube section, a lot of DMs on Instagram, a lot of people asking if I think it's a good idea to teach in Korea, some things I maybe gained. I've already made a video about what I like and what I don't like, so I thought I'd just tell you guys why I think you should go teach in Korea. So this video will kind of be more like a few ways Korea changed me and maybe some things that I think you would gain if you decided to go and teach English in Korea. So this is going to be 7 reasons why I think you should teach in Korea, and I'll save the best for first, so keep watching. Don't look away after like the 3rd reason. Number 1 is the most important. And I want to offer a disclaimer. This is just my personal experiences. These are my feelings. I'm not trying to sum up or generalize anybody else's experience, okay? Disclaimer, okay. So number 7, I think one of the reasons I think you should teach in Korea, there are a few countries that offer free housing. It's so affordable and safe there, like all at the same time. That is like the thing I miss the most about being in Korea, is how safe it was. Like after being back in the States, I just feel more paranoid. Like I was never overly scared or fearful of anything, but like in Korea, I could go for a midnight walk down the street to get ice cream if I wanted by myself at like 3 a.m. and not be like, ooh. You know, in the States, people are assaulted, shot literally for no reason, just randomly robbed. That's just not a thing in Korea. Even if I decided to leave the club area early and walk back to my guest house at like 4 a.m., it's so refreshing to feel that safe somewhere. Okay, so my 6th reason is you learn a lot when you're in Korea. I never taught before, so I was really worried like, oh my god, I'm gonna suck at this, I'm not gonna be good. You learn more about yourself, and you even remember like old grammatical rules. Like, oh yeah, you become better at explaining things. For one, they put you through several orientations. Like at least with my program and the talk program, we had like a big orientation for like the whole class of 2017, and then once you get to your province, you have another orientation. So you learn how to teach. Like you're just dropped in the middle of a country where no one else really looks like you, unless you're like Korean. Very few people speak your language. The signs aren't in English anymore. It's just a very unfamiliar place. When you see how you can get used to apps and you get used to navigating and you get used to a routine, like you become amazed with yourself. Like we adapt really well. I never would have thought I could go to another country where I barely speak the language, have students that like me, have friends, and build up a life like away from my family with them, without them being like right down the street. You gain a lot. Like I don't want to sound too corny or cliched, but like that's how I felt. Like even being back home, I haven't taught English for like a year now, and I'm like, wow, I really survived for 2 whole years in Korea. Like that's 2 Christmases, 2 New Years, 2 Halloweens, 2 Thanksgivings, 2 birthdays. It still feels weird to me, but I'm like, I did that. Like that's amazing. But you have to learn how to communicate with your body a bit more, use gestures. Like you just become better at communication. So there's a lot that you learn when you go to teach in Korea. There's a lot of personal benefits in that way. And of course, this goes without saying, as a teacher, you're patient. You have to be patient if you're a teacher. If you successfully complete the teaching process, you definitely become more patient. I'm an Aries. We are not known for our patience, but I can sit there and wait for you to gather some information. Like I am a very patient person now. Never thought that'd be possible. Get more in tune with your inner child. You learn how to make things fun. Like it's a good thing to have on your resume. Like it's a cool, unique experience to have. And people are like, wow, you taught in Korea. Tell me more about that. I'm like 90% sure that when I applied to be a flight attendant, the thing that cause you know, they sit you in the room and they go over your resume. So tell me about this. And once she got to so you taught in Korea for 2 years. Like that was the part where she was like all in and she was like so intrigued. Okay, number 5. This will probably affect everybody a bit differently, but for me, after being in Korea, I feel like I am a much more confident person. Not to say I had like ugly duckling syndrome before.
Oh no, I sure am ugly.
Like being abroad in a country that's so homogenous just made me appreciate my traits more. Like in Korea, everybody's all about pale skin. So I've appreciated, and then, you know, I need a tan, if anything. Like, do you know how much I'm gonna have to saturate this video so I don't look like a ghost? For me, personally, I learned to appreciate myself and my looks. Growing up in the States, you know, I don't have breasts, I don't have hips or booty, nothing like that, but in Korea I do. I had a booty compared to these other people. Which I know you're not supposed to compare yourself to other people, but you know, in the States when everyone like lusts over the most curvy, unnatural figures, and I grew up shaped like this, it got to me after a while. So after being abroad in Korea for 2 solid years, it just made me admire like what I do have, if that really makes any sense. I don't know. Like I always grew up, I was like, I have no butt, I should do these squats or whatever. But once I saw what is there in Korea, it could be a whole lot less. I don't know, I feel like when you're abroad in another country, some things are pointed out to you that you never appreciated before. Like I never felt anything special about my eyes, like the shape of them. But my kids used to be like, teacher, your eyes are so round, they're so full, they're so big. It's just little things that, you know, in the States we don't really think twice about our eye shape. You just start to appreciate more unique features about yourself. Again, I'm sorry if I'm not making any sense. Now don't get me wrong, there were days when I just felt so crappy about myself, like, oh my god, I don't look like nobody. You see pale, alien-eyed Barbie everywhere, and that's like the standard of beauty on all the billboards. And there were some days where I just felt like, ugh. But if you have kids who were as sweet as mine, then they will compliment you often. And I say if, because some of my friends have had nightmare students, which kind of transitions into the next point I'm gonna make for number 4. You have to adapt pretty thick skin, and I think it's a good place to not be so sensitive about things. Well up until I was like 23, anything could make me cry. I don't take criticism well, I don't take judgment well, and I was an emotional person. Like that's another reason why I held off so long on making YouTube. Like I told myself, if I get accepted into this program and when I go to Korea, I'm gonna make videos as soon as I get there. And that did not happen. I landed in February 2017 and I didn't even start this channel until May 2018. So yeah. Like your kids will call you out if you wear makeup for most days and then the one day you're not. Teacher, you look sick. Teacher, are you okay? Are you not feeling well? You look pale. They will call it as they see it. Students notice everything. Like they don't mean any harm by it. One thing you do have to prepare yourself for, Koreans are mad blunt. They have no filter. Like to them it's not really considered rude. Like here, even if your friend is gaining a little bit of weight and they ask you, am I gaining weight? You don't generally go, yeah girl, you need to lose some. You go, nah, you look thick. You turn it into a positive. That's what we do here in the States. Like I remember when I had Senegalese twists in my hair, I got compliments on them from my kids, but only after they told me, teacher, Pem. And I said, what is Pem? And he said, snakes. And they said I looked like a snake because of my twist. But then they started to like them, they started to twist up their hair, and it's just, you get thicker skin, like little things don't really bother you as much. Old Isis would have cried and I'm like, why are you so mean to me? Leave me alone. Number 3, it's a good chance to travel. Like there are a lot of countries around the world that are looking for English teachers. You can go to Spain, Cambodia, Thailand, Korea, Japan, the United Arab Emirates, like it's everywhere. You're essentially being paid because you're a foreigner there, you know what I mean? And I know that's kind of corny because any job abroad, you're being paid to be there. But when they're seeking English speakers, take advantage of being a foreigner. Like, it's kind of cool how you get to be like this ambassador. That's a double-edged sword. Sometimes you don't want to be like the representation of Americans, especially if you're acting out. But sometimes everybody has like this notion of what they think. I'm only saying Americans because I'm American. They have this like idea of what they think Americans are. And then you can show them, look, we're not all this way. Like, I arrived in the thick of Trump. Ugh. Do you know how hard it was to touch soil a month after he was sworn in, having to explain to my kids, I don't claim this fool. I did not vote for him. The public voted for Hillary. But I'm not going to get into that in this video. But like the kids are so curious. Like they'll ask you about your food, what your school is like, what things you like to do for fun from your country. Like it's really cute to like be this representation of a foreigner and you can put a positive spin on some bad stuff that they might assume about you. Now I will admit there isn't a lot of time for travel while you're in Korea, like outside of Korea, because being a teacher, you don't get many holidays. Sometimes you get lucky with like what day of the week these holidays fall on, but in general you don't get that many days for travel. Like in my 2 years, I went to Tokyo in 2017 and I went to Hong Kong in 2018. Those were my only vacations. I had like 5 or 6 days each, and then plus the weekend. But if you can work it out with your school, you know, you can make some travel plans happen. One of my friends, Tanya, she got like 7 days off of school. She went to like Macau, she went to Beijing, like the Great Wall of China. She went to Malaysia, I think, and was it Kuala Lumpur? She went to like 4 countries in a week. I don't know how she did it, but she did like 2 days in every country. Okay, number 2, and this one is kind of big for me, skincare. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Before I went to Korea, my skincare routine consisted of washing my face with a cleanser and then put lotion on. That's it. There were days where if I was feeling spicy, I'd use Noxzema because I like the tingle. I didn't know all of this stuff about like serums and toners and masks and different benefits and different ingredients I should look out for and stuff. Skincare is like one of my favorite things to do. Like I like to try different masks, cleansers, and products, and it's fun because no one ever regrets taking care of their skin. It only benefits you, you know? So I want to be able to wear less makeup. Like that is my goal. I don't want to have to put on foundation and stuff, especially in the summer. I just melt. Like one of my biggest insecurities in life, even before I went to Korea, was like my skin. Like I always felt like my pores were huge here. I always felt like my skin looked like droopy and dull and like I didn't have any sort of glow. And I watched like YouTube videos of other people doing makeup to get that, but then when you take off all that makeup, I'm just like,
Oh no, I sure am ugly.
I feel like when I can take off all that makeup and still like what I see, I feel great. Like skincare has become so important to me. Like I got pretty good at like concealing my under eyes and like smoothing out the lumps on my forehead with makeup and maybe making my lashes look more popping or whatever. But then when I had to take it all off, see, like dark eye circles are back, my brows are sparse, my forehead is still lumpy, I got all the acne scars, my pores, I can see them, I can see into the future of my pores. I never felt really good about myself. Just make sure when you experiment with Korean products, avoid whitening. There's a difference between brightening and whitening. Whitening will turn you into Casper. We don't want that. Some people, listen, I don't want to say that people who bleach their skin are dumb. I'm just saying it's a dumb thing to do because it's so dangerous. You have to be careful. A lot of things in Korea are meant to make you either look whiter or turn you whiter. For example, I got lucky when I went to a Tude house this one day. I was trying to get like these sheet masks and I know one had whitening powder and one was the regular one I was looking for. So luckily she spoke English and she recognized real. Like she was like, oh, you don't want this. And I was like, no. She said, this whitening, you look healthy. Your skin color looks healthy. You don't want whitening. I was like, thank you. One thing that I noticed in Korea, if you're more tanned or darker complexioned, a lot of people will tell you you look healthy. So even some of them realize that pale ain't the way. Like that's creepy looking. Just my opinion. So my number one reason why I think you should teach in Korea is addictive, man. It really is. Like I said, I was only supposed to be there for 6 months. That turned into a year. Then that turned into a year and 6 months. Then that turned into 2 years. And even when I went to visit my friends back in September, that was only supposed to be there for like 3 weeks. Then that turned into a month. Then that turned into 2 months. Then it turned into 3 months. Like it's really hard to leave once you go. Drinking and nightlife is so much fun. I don't know about everyone else's home country, but in the States, you get alcohol from liquor stores and they close after like 10 p.m. or midnight and you can't sell alcohol past a certain time. In Korea, alcohol is everywhere you want it to be for 24 hours a day. And I'm not saying like y'all gotta rely on drinking to have fun. I'm just trying to help you see what kind of environment it is. Like everybody is in this party mood, especially on the weekends and especially in certain districts. Korea is addictive because you also learn more about like self-maintenance and self-pampering and self-care, things like that. Like makeup is on every corner. You learn many more makeup techniques. You learn how to take care of your skin better. You learn how to style yourself better. There are hair salons on like every corner. I will say this is also a bit of a double-edged sword because people take your physical appearance way too seriously in Korea. Like the fact that even when you submit a job application, you have to have a little picture of yourself on the application. And because it's more affordable, I encourage you to do what I didn't do, weekend trips. Every time I had the chance to leave Jeju, I flocked to Seoul. When I didn't have to work in Taeyon, I caught a bus to Seoul. I've only visited like Busan, but it rained the whole weekend. Gangneung, where they had the Olympics, and I went there a few times because I had a friend that lived there. I went to Gwangju literally for less than 24 hours. I went to Incheon a few times. I went to Daegu once and that was just orientation. Like there's a lot to see. It's a small country, but there's so many like natural beauties, like so much hiking to do in the mountains, so many cute like beachy activities and so many like bike way. Like there's so much to do and I encourage when you get to Korea, do more of that and travel and see the countryside. Like I said, I do not teach anymore. I don't really want to anymore. Like the only thing I miss is the students, but I'm focused more on like traveling. So I'm happy with my new job when I finally started, because nobody told me this process would be so long. I do plan to go back to Korea to visit like semi-monthly or whatever, because I'll be able to do that. I want to see more of the countryside. I want to go camping. I want to do more zip lines and paraglide. Like there's just so much you can do over there, and it's way cheaper. Korean fashion is really interesting. Like there's like this hardcore hip hop style in Hongdae. Then there's like the cutesy idol look. It's so easy to be influenced by the fashion and to feel more bold and confident in the way you dress. I've been getting compliments on some of my outfits and stuff I've been putting together, but a lot of that is based off of what I learned in Korea. Like it is so hard to leave Korea once you go. Literally everybody I know who's taught in Korea, they either extended their contract or they're there longer than they expected to be because they're like, well, I might as well extend again. Or they had to go home for like school, family, whatever, and they're planning to go back to teach in Korea like at their earliest convenience. So yeah, these are some of the main reasons why I think you should teach in Korea. I get a lot of questions if I think it's worth it financially, if it was hard, if I wanted to quit, things like that. And obviously no place is perfect, so I will be back with a rebuttal and I'll tell you a few reasons why maybe teaching in Korea ain't for you. But for me, I think the good outweighs the bad. So I hope this helps people who are like on the fence, wondering if they should or if they shouldn't go. I personally think you should, because you really never know what you're capable of until you try. I did not think, like even when I was applying, I was like, they're not gonna accept me. And then when they accept me, I was like, I'm not gonna last more than a month. And then 6 months in, do you want to extend your contract? We want you to stay. And I was like, oh my God, I think I'm gonna stay. Like you never know what you can do until you try. So thanks for watching if you did. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I put out 2 new videos every week. So if you like this sort of content, then please subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Annyeong.